It has never been a better time to be a Stalker fan than right now. So I'm sure as many of you guys have heard, the Stalker Trilogy is now available on consoles, both Xbox and PlayStation. And not just the new gens, but they are also on PS4 and Xbox One as well. So the accessibility for the trilogy has just gone up tremendously. This is bringing in a new golden age for the vanilla games, and longtime fans of the PC versions, I mean, we couldn't be happier right now to see these posts where everybody is starting to play the game or they finished it and they're like, I am a huge fan of this franchise now, I'm completely in love with these games, and the experiences that they're having. It's awesome. It really warms your heart to see it. I can't get enough of those posts. It's really great. It's nice to see the vanilla games back in the spotlight, you know what I mean? Like, not to hate on the mods, you know, because the mods have their place. But yeah, you don't see the vanilla games usually taking the spotlight in as much in recent years. So this is really good. This is kind of like a new renaissance for them. And there have been a number of quality of life improvements to the games. They've changed and tweaked a few things, and in my opinion, all of them are for the better. I finished Shadow of Chernobyl, and I'm already dabbling into Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat on my Xbox Series X, and I've been having an absolute blast playing these games. But I have noticed quite a few things, and we'll go ahead and we'll get into those details now. And that trailer is awesome. I think like the best part about it is the new rendition of Moose's Wasteland 2 theme, the iconic Shadow of Chernobyl theme. This version is haunting as shit. It is awesome. Can't get enough of it. Once again, you know, Mullet or any other managers or anyone else from GSC, if you're watching this, please, we would love to get that audio track uploaded on YouTube. That would be fantastic. So things that I'm noticing when I played the games, like, it hasn't obviously all been sunshine and rainbows. Of course, these games are still built on the backbone of the X-Ray engine, and it's not exactly always known for having peak stability. Although, you know, admittedly, in recent times on the PC with the latest patch versions, like, the games really aren't as buggy as, I mean, they're quirky. I mean, you see a lot of weird stuff happen like when you're playing, but as far as like crashing to desktop, it's not quite as common as it used to be in like the, you know, version 1003, 1004. Once we got to 1005 and beyond, you know, we were doing pretty okay. Most of the crashes, I think, were just from early game drivers from AMD and Nvidia back in the day, but everything modern plays perfectly fine. So when, in my experience, playing Shadow of Chernobyl, it was like 90% perfect, but as soon as I tried leaving Lab X10, my Xbox would go ahead and crash to the dashboard, or my console would go ahead and restart, and it was doing it over and over. And it's kind of funny, because just as soon as I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and record this, maybe this will help to nail the issue down, it wouldn't do it. Then the game was fine. I'd leave X10, I'd be in the little train cart, and the game would crash. So I would load my game, I'd go outside, I'd turn around real quick and run back into the lab, nothing would happen, go back outside, then it would crash again. So no matter how wise I try to get with the game, it was always one step ahead of me. I thought it was like maybe like a memory leak or something. I really honestly, I couldn't give you the technicals. It's weird, it is what it is. You know, these games, they haven't gotten any sort of patches in like over a decade, so the fact that they've brought them to the consoles now is very promising, because that means that GSC is likely going back through these games and giving them the additional polish because of the fact that now we've got them on all these additional platforms, and, you know, it justifies going back and taking a much deeper look at all of these things now that these products are super relevant again. And I can say firsthand, there's evidence of that, just because there's a number of fixes and adjustments with these games that you can tell just right away from playing, especially with Clear Sky. But we'll talk about that here in a moment. The first thing that I've noticed needs to be changed, like I said, I'm sure that they're cooking up patches right now as we speak, as this video has been made. But the font, man, like the font for the text, they got to change that. Yeah, that's really all it is. Hopefully it's not too complicated to implement, but for whatever reason, there's like, yeah, I don't know why the font that's in the game right now doesn't really have the style and personality that the the classic Stalker font has, so hopefully we get that back here soon. Other than that, the original games had a 3D audio engine. They used the Sound Blaster EAX as well. They had hardware audio support. I'm not sure if it's OpenAL that these are built on or what. I'm a little bit rusty on the audio technology for whatever they're doing with these ports right now. But I can say that there are a number of side effects. Most of it is audio clipping, sound effects that will start cutting out. It's really common with the military chopper sound effect, voices crashing with each other. You know, when I first started playing the game, I swear, I went to talk to Wolf to get the initial mission for the bandit camp, and it sounded like he was like switching out between English and like Russian, Ukrainian. I'm not sure. It was like 4 different voices were blending into each other, and it could have easily been anybody who was sitting at the campfire. So I'm not too sure. But other than that, I mean, that's like the usual. That's your usual Stalker jank, baby. I mean, like, you know, that's part of the game's charm. There's always going to be some element of that, and I wouldn't want all of that to be fixed, if I'm being quite frank. I mean, that's just the flavor. In my book, as long as the game isn't crashing my console or corrupting my saves or doing anything too crazy like that, then the glitches are usually pretty funny. You know what I mean? If like a character gets stuck in a wall, I always love to have those moments. It really doesn't bother me. The grass shadows have been restored for this port, which is a really big deal. A lot of people don't realize this, but in the earlier versions on the PC, the grass shadows are in the game, just as you see now in these ports. And they were actually removed in later patches. It was one of those graphical features that was just so damn demanding for the time. And I guess they thought it was just a better idea to take it out because they kept getting so many complaints from people that the game ran badly. And it was because they had grass shadows on. So, you know, you can see here in a clip from my buddy Deus NF that if you're playing the vanilla games on the PC, if you're getting into them now on Steam and you're a first-time player, welcome to the franchise, and have no worries. You can play with all of the shadows and the definitive graphics, so to speak. You know, I've heard some people refer to these ports as a remaster. It's not a remaster. It's not even close. It's not even remotely a remaster yet. These are just extremely well done, faithful ports with some critical quality of life improvements. The things that they did change for the better, I'm very glad that they did. And the grass shadows is definitely the first one, but it's not even just the shadows for the grass. The lighting in general seems quite a bit improved. Everything just seems really clean. It's really nice. High resolution, 4K, 60 FPS. I mean, what more can you ask for? It plays butter. I mean, I understand that these are old games, but you got to remember when they came out that they were really cutting edge, and now we're playing them very casually at like 4K resolution. So it is a lot still for these consoles to have to crunch on. But the games look amazing. Really clean presentation. I give them a lot of credit there. The one thing that I noticed, which only applies so far to Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat, is the weapon sway. It's a lot different this time. So you can tell I've got some clip examples here for you to look at, but it looks like when they were changing the control scheme over for the gamepad that they went ahead and did some update on the animation work. I think it looks a lot better. There is like just one little segment that I think still looks kind of quirky when the gun is bouncing up and down. On the console version, it looks a little bit more jagged or jarring, whereas the PC version was always very smooth. So maybe that can get dialed in or just tweaked. But even the way it is right now is honestly not bad. I like it a lot. I still think that that's an improvement. Good stuff. Now, if you were wondering if you were going to get mouse and keyboard support on the consoles, that's not there, which honestly, if that was like a big deal for you, just find a way to play it on the PC. But I have to say, the quality of the game on the gamepad is really good, except for me personally, everybody's different and has their own, style. It was awful for me. The auto aim was terrible. It kept pulling me towards center mass on enemies. I couldn't get headshots. I couldn't get the crosshair. I couldn't get the camera to fix on the target when I wanted it to, and away when I didn't. It was just all over the place. So I'll go ahead and attach some screenshots of like how I have my settings configured, and these screenshots might need to be tweaked slightly. I usually turn the aiming speed up even a little bit higher since I took these screenshots. Just because when you're trying to track enemies with the right thumbstick while you're aiming down sights, it can be really hard because people can move pretty quickly, and the default sensitivity is way too low. You're really gonna struggle just to get into a fight with like 1 or 2 dogs with the way the controls are out of the box. With the way I have it dialed in now, I've gotten pretty comfortable with it. Doesn't feel all that different from the PC, to be honest. I mean, yeah, when I'm on the computer, I'm gonna be like at the most accurate and, you know, just completely on the money. But I don't feel like I'm being cut down by playing on a gamepad. It's actually really smooth. The smooth camera panning, I like it a lot. It's a great way to play. But I will say that despite all of those improvements that they made to Clear Sky, it doesn't look exactly like the DirectX 10.1 version on the PC maxed out. Like it's close, and they have said that this summer they're going to be adding additional visual improvements, you know, as well as mod support. And I'm sure that's going to be, you know, be a big deal for people, but we're going to have to wait and see what the extent of that support is before we get too excited. But that is really good to see. It's very promising that they're making that promise already. But yeah, I'm wondering if these graphic improvements are going to be bringing it closer to the original DX 10.1 version, or if it's even going to be better than the way the PC versions look at their best now. We'll have to wait and see, because that gets me excited. That pushes this more into a remaster territory, which I would love to see. There's no better trilogy of games in the world that deserves any remaster touches. So the one thing that's a big gameplay thing, this is my personal recommendation, is there's nothing binded to the right shoulder button on the Xbox. There's a lot of opportunity there. So I would do one of 2 things, GSE. One of 2 things. The first would be, just the same way that LB brings up the weapon menu, I would have right button bring up the item menu. And that should have things like you can already use the quick hotkeys for bandages and for med kits, but it would be cool maybe for like energy drinks or something. I think I would prefer even more, option number 2 would be to have it bind for leaning, because you can only lean right now when you're aiming down the sights and you press the shoulder buttons. But if you're trying to do hip fire leaning, you can't do that, which when you're coming up on a corner, sometimes you don't want to aim down the sights. You just want to lean a little bit. So that would be one of those things that makes the controls just that much closer to being one-to-one with the PC versions. So please, that would be awesome. That's my big recommendation. Oh, and my other big recommendation is please make the HUD toggleable. Let me disable the HUD so that my buddy Spartan Mosey and I can take awesome screenshots in with the console versions, and so I can also play with like my immersion raised through the roof, because that's my favorite way to play Stalker is HUDless, and it's just nice to be able to have the option to do it. And there's already like a key binding for it on the PC version. Obviously there's no button for it on the Xbox, but yeah, throw that in the menu. That would be a big deal. That would be awesome. That would be super appreciated. So, you know, if you're new to the series and you're watching this, let me just say right now, I highly recommend these ports. You know, even putting all the bias to the side, this is a really good value. You know, for 40, I think it's like what, 40 to 60 bucks? I think it's $40. Yeah, it's not even at full price. Yeah, for $40, you're getting 3 games. And Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat have plenty of content in them. They definitely warrant being a full title price. So this is a great deal. The quality of these games is terrific. All bugs aside, and remember, they're not really bugs. There's just anomalies. There are no bugs, just anomalies. So it's worth it. They're worth putting up with. These are some of the absolute greatest games ever made. I highly recommend, if you play your games on console, that you go download these right now. This is awesome. This is the best time to play these games. Soak up the lore, have these awesome experiences, talk and share with your friends, because Stalker 2 is coming, and it's coming quickly. September is going to be here before you know it, guys. These 6 months are about to just blink by like nothing, and I'm so here for it. I'm going to be trying to pump out as much content as I can for you guys. I know I tend to be slow, but I'm about to be turning up the heat, so get ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up with my recommendations for new players. Stalker is a terrific game, but it can be very unforgiving if you don't know a few things before you go into it. And I'm gonna try and keep this as spoiler free as possible. So the one thing that you need to know is this is one of those games where there is a point towards the end of the game that once you go back, or once you go past, you can't go back. There's no going back to get resources. You can't go further south into the zone. And once you get to that point, it's on. So you got to make sure that you're completely geared up. This is going to be at the end of the game when you go to the CNPP reactor. And that's all I'm going to say. So just make sure you're super geared up. I recommend that you have at least 2 manual save games before you go. So if you're pushing through and you might not have enough resources to actually get to the end, no worries. You can go ahead and load your save. You're not going to be stuck and you're not going to ruin your playthrough. I would hate for that to happen because it can take a really solid experience with the game and ruin it if you don't know that that's coming. So that's my major recommendation for new players. And then I have one more recommendation, of course. You know, like I said, it's been so heartwarming to see all of these new players new to the series, and you know, veterans sharing their experiences with new players. And I'm seeing a lot of veterans that are giving tips to players, and one in particular I'm going to go ahead and share as well because I've seen people bring it up, and it really is a solid tip for new players, and that is to get the Gauss rifle when you're in the dark territory. Before you go to Lab X18, make sure you go across the bridge and head on down there to the farmstead, because there's a guy there who's going to sell you a Gauss rifle for 800 rubles, and it really helps you just lay down the smack on the mid to late game. It is an incredible deal. You know, it's just one of those things that every player will tell you. You know, it's gonna make life a party. So good luck to all you new stalkers out there, and get ready because we'll see you in 6 months for Stalker 2.
6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months.
Open the door or I'm gonna throw rocks through your windows, you dumb.
Through here!
I want the money. I'll raise enough hell till you give in and give it to me.
Oh no, it's Clear Sky Foo. No, why do they have to make these? Why do these have to exist? Ah, oh, Jesus, it's been so long. Oh my god, I forgot how bad the Stalker anime crossovers are. Oh, look how they massacred my boy. Oh no, they've done every faction. Oh my god, there's so many of them. Oh, they don't stop coming, do they? Oh no. Terrible. Oh, whoa. Hey yo, hold up. Hold up. This is getting, oh, yeah, damn, bro, whoa, let's slow down. Oh shit, why do they have to make it so thick? Damn, all right, look, this is, oh my god, this is out of control. This is Crescent, shut it down. Shut it down, Crescent, blow the bunker.